Everyone needs assistance sometimes. When the judge sees a little girl making signs at a deaf dog, he brings court proceedings to a halt. What happened next with the dog was astounding. Welcome to Wonderbot Animals. Sarah was really scared about having to go to court. It's intimidating for adults too, but for a frightened young girl who had to confront a villain, it was especially daunting. She had been getting ready for her day in court for a long while, yet when she finally sat down, she was paralyzed. She couldn't bear to look at anyone, and her voice just wouldn't come out. Even on good days, Sarah was quite reserved, and the thought of speaking up in front of people petrified her. She believed she couldn't go through with it. The thought of escaping the courtroom crossed her mind, but her legs were too weak to move. That's when she noticed the deaf dog off to one side and gestured to him. Carl immediately knew his role. His response left everyone in the courtroom amazed, but the question remained, how was a deaf dog present there to begin with? Carl was a big dog, specifically a white boxer, but his presence in the courtroom wasn't a case of a pet sneaking in. He was there as a therapy dog. Courts allow therapy dogs to support children who need to give testimony. Being near a big, gentle dog can make young witnesses feel much safer in a stressful environment. Carl was part of a group from Companions for Courage and the K9 Circuit program, which trains dogs to provide support in court. All the dogs in the program work hard to assist those in need, yet Carl stood out. Initially trained to be a service dog, it was discovered that Carl was deaf. This might have ended his training, but instead, his path shifted. Rather than assisting just one person, the goal became for him to be a therapy dog, aiding many. His deafness didn't hinder his ability to support individuals. In fact, it likely made him an even more effective therapy dog for the courtroom because he wasn't distracted by noises that typically challenge other dogs during their training. Loud noises and emotional outbursts, common in courtrooms, often disqualify dogs from service. Carl, however, was unaffected by such disturbances due to his deafness. However, there was a hurdle. Carl couldn't respond to spoken commands, which are crucial for service dogs. But this didn't deter Carl or his dedicated trainer Joanne. She was committed to maximizing Carl's potential as a therapy dog, investing many hours into his training. Carl couldn't learn spoken commands, but he was capable of responding to visual cues. Joanne taught him American Sign Language, enabling him to understand her commands without hearing them. With determination and Carl's intelligence, he quickly adapted to his training. Yet, some essential qualities of a service dog can't be taught. They must be innate. Carl's success would ultimately depend on his natural abilities, which would be tested in his practical training. As soon as Carl began his role as a therapy dog, he quickly won the hearts of the children he assisted during some of the most frightening moments of their lives. They needed a gentle presence, not an unpredictable dog that might add to their fears. Carl was the epitome of calm and warmth, welcoming the children's affection and embraces without any sign of wanting to escape or becoming defensive. His sizable presence next to them provided a sense of security and protection. The children felt shielded from those they were testifying against, believing Carl was there to guard them. Carl possessed a unique ability, further enhanced by a clever idea from Joanne. Carl didn't mind dressing up in jerseys or other clothing items. During the chilly months, he actually seemed to enjoy wearing something warm. This extra touch made the children even more comfortable around him. Each day, Carl arrived at the courthouse donned in a fresh and imaginative outfit, bringing smiles and laughter to the children with his humorous hats. This touch of whimsy added a light-hearted element to the otherwise tense and intimidating environment of the courtroom, helping everyone to feel a bit more at ease. Surprisingly, one of Carl's initial hurdles was learning to stay still. The courtroom involves a lot of waiting. Trainers can't simply take the dogs out for a walk or playtime during sessions. They must remain patient throughout, which can be quite boring. Carl had to master the art of waiting calmly for his turn to support a witness. Through diligent training, he eventually became adept at remaining quiet and composed in the courtroom, ready to offer his support to the children who needed him. However, it wasn't always straightforward, and an upcoming case would present one of his greatest challenges yet. Speaking publicly is daunting for many children, even more so in a courtroom full of strangers. For a little girl who had experienced trauma and was naturally introverted, recounting the most horrifying experiences of her life in front of an audience, including the perpetrator, was a scenario filled with dread, particularly for the anxious and quiet Sarah. Before we continue, remember to give this video a like to help it reach 10K and subscribe to the channel. Deciding to let her testify was tough for her parents, but bringing the villain to justice was crucial, and she was the key witness. Yet, she wouldn't face it by herself. Her initial appearance in court was immensely intimidating. Just entering the courtroom felt like an insurmountable challenge, but she managed. She had been preparing with Carl for some time, learning specific hand signals to use whenever she felt anxious. Carl understood sign language, but naturally, most children didn't. Joanne had devised simple signs for Carl that any child could use to communicate their need for him before their first courtroom experience. This preparation helped Carl to bond with his new friends early, ensuring they felt comfortable relying on him. So, when Sarah found herself unable to speak in the daunting courtroom, she remembered she wasn't alone. Observing the little girl signaling to Carl, the judge paused the proceedings, aware of the importance of Carl's role. Recognizing the signal, Carl rushed to her side, positioning himself between her and the defendant, providing her with the security to find her voice. She began her testimony with Carl's support, focusing on him to gather the strength needed to narrate her ordeal. Unfortunately, Sarah's journey through the legal system wasn't over after just one day. She faced several trials, each requiring immense bravery. Carl was there for her each time, meeting her as soon as she arrived and never leaving her side. His presence offered the constant comfort and encouragement she needed to persist. With Carl by her side, she was able to fully share her story, securing the justice she deserved. The bond formed between the girl and the therapy dog was deeper than words could convey. After the conclusion of the trials, the prospect of never seeing Carl again loomed over her, a potential source of additional trauma. Recognizing this, arrangements were made for Sarah and Carl to continue their meetings post-trial. Their sessions gradually spaced out over time, allowing her to adjust to moving forward in her life without Carl's constant physical presence. Carl, the therapy dog, had a profound impact on numerous lives within the courtroom, offering his support throughout their entire journey. However, his influence extended beyond the children he comforted. Adults and the entire court system benefited from his presence. Carl played a significant role in transforming perceptions significantly. His story, reaching a global audience, highlighted the extraordinary program he was a part of. Carl, along with his fellow therapy dogs, revolutionized court proceedings. The introduction of dogs into the courtroom has alleviated stress for many, providing essential support even to adults facing challenges. Carl, however, held a special place in many hearts, proving how uniqueness could be a source of strength. In his off-duty moments, Carl encountered numerous individuals who found solace in his company. Joanne observed that many people would embrace Carl, moved to tears by his comforting presence. His extraordinary affinity for human connection made him an exceptional therapy dog. He approached everyone as a friend, offering solace to those in dire need of comfort. For Carl, this role came naturally. He relished in providing comfort and enjoying playful interactions. The empathy and support he offered were reciprocated with all the affection and attention a dog could wish for. Indeed, most pets would envy the constant love and caresses he received. Therapy dogs like Carl also serve as a pillar of support for the professionals within the judiciary system. Judges, who face their own set of pressures in deliberating cases, can find solace in the presence of these therapy dogs. Recognizing the demanding nature of their roles, the program is designed to offer companionship to any judge in need, ensuring the well-being of both the dogs and the individuals they assist. The dogs are carefully managed with specific shifts and assignments to balance their workload and provide them with adequate rest. Carl's contributions, alongside the therapy dog program, have inspired courtrooms worldwide to consider integrating therapy dogs into their proceedings to support victims and witnesses. This raises the question of whether such initiatives should be adopted globally. What do you think of using therapy dog programs in courtrooms all over the world? Let us know in the comments. Also, don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe. Until next time.